Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Otto and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about the DJI OM4 versus the Moza Mini MX. The retail price of this is $89, but I got it on Amazon for just $60. And I know that they still have special prices at around $70 or so. For smartphone gimbals, this is a very good deal, but now we need to know if this is a good gimbal and how does it compare with the OM4. So the price is not the only remarkable difference here. The OM4 has this traditional gimbal shape where the Moza has this interesting shape which actually looks like a giraffe to me. Inside the box, the OM4 has a pouch, a tripod, a grease strap, a USB-C charging cable, and a few other items to complement the magnetic clamp. The Moza Mini MX comes with a pouch, a tripod, a grease strap, a USB-C charging cable, and it also has this tiny manual, but it is so tiny that you're going to need a macro lens to read it. Both gimbals have 3-axis and stabilization on both devices is very solid. They did perform really good when I was testing them out, and I had no problems with one or the other. These two gimbals can be folded for easier transportation. The first time you unfold this, it's going to feel like this is a toy from the NASA, but I promise you will get used to it. These two gimbals have a very similar weight at almost 500 grams including the tripods. They can also support pretty heavy phones, the Moza Mini MX up to 280 grams, which seems to be the standard nowadays, and the OM4 up to 290 grams. I was able to use both of them with the iPhone 12 with an external lens and the case to mount the lens, and they didn't have any problems with that. These gimbals have a high battery capacity, and according to my tests, the OM4 will last for a maximum of 15 hours and the Moza will last for a whopping 26 hours. Please keep in mind that the gimbals were on standby mode to test the battery life. The OM4 can be used as a power bank to charge your smartphone with a simple USB cable, and this is a feature that you won't get on the Moza Mini MX. The OM4 has this magnetic clamp that you place on your phone, and honestly, this is my favorite part. Most of the time, if I need to bring a gimbal with me, it's going to be the OM4 just because of this convenience. Setting up and balancing the Moza Mini MX is easy, but the OM4, it's the winner. The clamp of the Mini MX is very wide and this is something good, but it's also a problem for smartphones like my Samsung S21 Plus, where as you can see, it covers the power button almost completely. The system that holds the clamp here is all made of plastic instead of metal, and I'm not sure if this is going to have future problems. Using the smartphone's ultra-wide angle lens is not going to be a problem. The camera is not going to see the arm, but I was only able to test this with the iPhone 12 and the Samsung S21 Plus. Build quality is very good on both devices, and I like the ergonomic grip that they both have, and the angle of the handle makes them feel really good. The OM4 has some soft rubber on the back of the handle as well as on the joystick and on the trigger. The Mini MX is plain plastic all around, just some texture over here, but still plastic. The tripod on the OM4 will serve as an extension grip, but I can't say the same about the Mini MX because the design is different and the tripod connects way up on the gimbal. This design leads to another problem with the trigger, which is right here, so the space for your finger there is going to be tight, very tight. The good side of this design is that you can hold the gimbal with both hands just like this, and it will help to make it more stable. I also found that you can twist the handle to this position where you can still access the buttons, but the only issue here would be the trigger. The buttons, the trigger, and the joystick, they feel very good on both gimbals. With the buttons and the trigger, you can recenter the gimbal, switch to horizontal or vertical mode, and switch to the front-facing camera and vice versa. The OM4 has a smooth slider for the zoom control here on the left side. Moza chose not to have a slider, but instead it has 2 buttons to zoom in and to zoom out. This is not the standard when it comes to zoom controls, but Moza was able to set these buttons to do more. If you double press on a button, it will automatically zoom in or zoom out all the way. But far more useful than that is that you can change the different gimbal modes without going into the menus. So the default mode is pan follow, but if I press the zoom in button, it will change to pan and tilt mode. If I press the zoom out button, it will change to FPV mode. And to go back to the default mode, you have to press the last button that you pressed, which is a little bit confusing, but on the OM4, to change the gimbal modes, you need to go inside the menus on the app. Now the good news is that with the OM4 and with the MOSA, you can enter log mode by holding the trigger just like this. Unders long mode works on both gimbals without issues, and this will let you take low angle shots. To activate this on the OM4, you need to flip the gimbal to the side, and on the MOSA, the best way is to rotate it forward. Sport mode is also available on both gimbals, and this will make the gimbal react faster to your movements. As the name implies, this is useful when you're making action or sport videos. Spin shot or inception mode is where the smartphone spins around, and you can achieve this on both gimbals where you have to manually push the joystick to the left or the right for the smartphone to spin clockwise or counterclockwise. The MOSA Mini MX and the OM4 have object and face tracking, and to activate the tracking, you can select the subject on the screen or you can press the trigger once. Tracking is very good on both devices, and I had no trouble using my iPhone or my Android device. The application that the gimbals have will offer the basic camera modes like photo mode, video mode, time-lapse, hyperlapse, and slow motion. On the OM4, you also get panorama shots and dolly zoom. If you're using Android on the OM4, slow motion is not going to be on the menu. You can only shoot at 30 frames per second inside the app, and you cannot select manual controls for the shutter speed or the ISO. If you have an iPhone, the OM4 can shoot at different frame rates up to 60 in any resolution. The MOSA Mini MX will support 24 and 30 frames per second on Android, and it will have slow motion as an option on the menus. If you have an iPhone, you can shoot at different frame rates up to 60 at 4K and up to 120 at 1080p. I was very surprised when I found that on the iPhone and also on Android, you can select Pro mode to access manual controls for the ISO, the shutter speed, and the white balance. And here on Pro mode, you also gain access to individual controls to lock the exposure and the focus. The OM4 remains, in my opinion, as a very good choice, and I really like to use it. But I also know that a lot of people, especially Android users, are looking for another option where they don't feel so limited using their app. So the MOSA Mini MX is a good choice. But please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please give this video a like, subscribe if you want to, but whatever you do, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.